So this video is about the difficulty that people encounter doing the work, the hard work, and it's called why you can't do the hard work. Okay, hint, it's because you're a pussy. At the end of the day, honestly, that's the cliff notes of this. Okay, what is it actually? What is work actually? Like, it's things you have to do. How do you do them? By sitting down and fucking doing them. There's nothing more to it than that. Now, what we're going to talk about is kind of the psychology behind what's going on in people's heads, why they avoid that, and why they push it away. Okay, especially when it comes to business. Or I guess only when it comes to business, because this is what I'm talking about, okay? So the reason you can't do the hard work and you struggle to do the hard work is, I mean, partially it's this, like I said, you're a pussy. But it's because you don't know the steps to success. And I don't mean steps like from here you go here, then you go here, then you go here and you're successful. I mean, you don't know how many steps or units of time or energy or effort or anything, how many units of repetitions it takes you to get to where you want to be. Because you're new, you've never done this before, okay? So is it 10 units away? Is it 100 units away? Is it 10,000 units away? You don't fucking know, okay? And what that does is it saps your motivation over time to actually perform and deliver and show up and put the work in, okay? And the longer it takes you to see results, just psychologically, the more likely you are to actually quit. Okay, so what I call it is it's actually this cloud of uncertainty hanging over your head. Okay, so the cloud of uncertainty around your business hanging over your head, that gives you doubts if what you're doing will lead to success or if what you're doing is the right thing. Okay, it leads to resistance, which I'll talk about very shortly. It leads to excuses. Okay, like things you think up to do instead of doing the work that you know you have to actually do, okay? In terms of resistance, resistance is any sort of kind of elemental force within you that prevents you from going out and doing what it is you want to do, okay? If that makes sense, okay? So resistance is what you feel when, for example, you sit down at the table and you have to do cold outbound, right? And you have to message 100 people and you just can't get yourself to do it. And instead you go TikTok and scroll, and you go on Instagram and you scroll, and you go YouTube and you binge watch shit and all this stuff, right? But you know at the back of your head, what you should be doing is that cold outbound. But there's two reasons why kind of resistance exists, because one, you don't get instantly rewarded for the work you're putting in, right? And you've trained yourself, and social media has trained you, and all these companies have trained you to seek instant dopamine hits. Okay, so if you're doing 100 outbound messages a day on LinkedIn, on Facebook, cold emails, whatever, right? Cold calls, and you're not seeing any results out of it, and it takes you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days before you get a positive reply, or it takes you weeks because you're doing the whole process wrong, okay? You don't have that dopamine hit, so naturally you're going to be resistant to doing that. So you sit down on the computer, right? You have your fucking phone or whatever, you're doing it on your phone, you're ready to go and you should be going, but then like you start scrolling and reading and watching shit, and before you know it, 3 hours have passed, you've done 0 outbound, okay? That's resistance, right? Resistance is that internal elemental force that it's you knowing what to do versus you actually doing it. It's this gap, right? This barrier between knowing what to do and actually doing it, okay? And this can creep up and get stronger and wider over time, all right? So how you solve that is not just motivation or discipline or any of this nonsense, right? It's really logically understanding what it takes for you in your specific business to achieve success and results. And this is why I emphasize KPIs so much on my channel, right? Knowing what the numbers are that you have to get a book call, to get one signed client, right? How many sales calls do I have to take on average to sign a client, right? If you close 1 in 4, right? It doesn't mean every 4 calls you're gonna close 1 client. You can go 10 calls, not close anybody, and then 11, 12, 13, you close them 3 in a row, right? That's regression to the mean. That's the law of averages, right? So, next step. It's this, what I just talked about, right? It's not knowing the path to actually getting there, right? So it's not quite fear of the unknown, but it's not knowing how to get there or how long it's gonna take you to get there. So this first thing, where I said you don't know the steps to success, right? These units of time, effort, energy, whatever you wanna call them, however you wanna think of them, right? Not knowing how long it takes you, how many reps you have to do to get to where you want to be, is really the ultimate demon fighting you, right? It's the antithesis of everything you actually want to be, okay? And it's this cloud of uncertainty, like I said, okay, that is preventing you from doing the hard work. Because if I told you, hey, listen, if you do 1,000 outbound messages over the next 3 hours, right, it's gonna be very tough to do, multiple phones, right, phone, computer, maybe a friend helping you, I will give you $200,000. Would you figure out a way to do it? Probably yes. What would you do? Like I said, multiple phones, computer, different devices, get a friend or 2 or 3 to help you split the share, right? Not the share of what you get, the reward, right? So there are ways of doing it, right? That's proper motivation. But when you have to do this tedious, and I use outbound just because it's, people do it so incorrectly anyway, and because of that they have such low, poor response rate and horrible results. But everyone knows what outbound is, and everyone knows it's tedious to grind. No one's doing it correctly. That's why it's so bad, and that's why it's so low response rate. But outbound sucks if you don't do it right. Right? Now, I teach you how to do it right because I've learned how to do it right. It took me grinding a long time to figure out how to do it right as well. Okay? Just so you know. But yeah, if I told you, like I said, if you give me 1,000 outbound messages in the next 3 hours, I'll give you $200,000 contractually guaranteed, and here's the check, right? I'm just gonna hand it over to you when you finish. You'll probably find a way to fucking send 1,000 outbound messages in 3 hours. Okay? So, motivation, right? And here, okay. Now, at the end of the day, this is how you solve it, okay? The only way of figuring out all this unknown and getting clarity on it is by doing the fucking work yourself, okay? So you have to uncover the path on your own. Of course, that's the least efficient way. And this is why most people who want to do it alone, right, with only free resources, end up failing and fucking off and doing something else and saying, oh, SMA doesn't work. SMA is saturated, right? We run SMA right now. It's June 2024. Last month, May, we made almost 600,000. It was like 598. I show my wave dashboard, okay, on SMA agency. People think they're dead. They're not fucking dead, right? A year and a bit ago, March 2023, was the first client signed for 3 and something thousand, right? Up to 600K now. It's not dead, right? You just don't have the right methods, okay? So if you're trying to figure it out on your own, by yourself, right, chances of success are very, very, very slim. Slim to none, because you don't have the motivation to keep doing the work over time, okay? But you can shortcut this process by paying somebody, not saying me, anybody, who's already done that, okay? And this is really the biggest benefit of Wi-Fi money, okay, and the stuff that's going on online. Now, there's a caveat to this in that, I talk about in other videos how realistically, right now, so many people are stuck course hopping from this course to 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 this course, and the course sellers themselves aren't really showing the right stuff, right? The real stuff. All they want to do is keep you in this hamster wheel of paying for more courses, paying for more courses, paying for more courses, and all this shit, right? So you got to watch out for that, because people have promised you a way out of the matrix, so away from the 9 to 5, away from student life, away from grinding your life away, like your parents probably did, etc., etc., into time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, right? Be where you want, do what you want, however you want, okay? But they've trapped you into this, in this new fucking matrix of like, use this method, try this way, this course, that course, that course. And people's attentions, the student side, is so scattered, right? They end up not putting the right work in onto these elements, and they want the new, latest, greatest, shiniest object instead of actually chasing what matters, just success and results and sales for their business. Okay? Anyway, that's the longer edition of why you cannot do the work.